Okay. And I'm going to get us over to Facebook and then we'll hit it.
This week, we're celebrating Easter. First, we create this bunny wreath to welcome guests into your home. Then we hop on together this adorable bunny box.
Guys, if you have a lot of noise in your background, please mute. Thank you. Okay.
No, you're good, Sherry.
Okay, we're going live and make sure that this works perfectly. All the technical things here. Okay, I think we are good. Welcome everybody in the Jules group. This is Jennifer Woolsey, your team leader. So excited tonight. We have a guest speaker that's going to be joining us. And Eva May is going to tell us all about her new best friend. So Eva May, take the floor and go ahead and tell us who is with us tonight.
All right. Welcome, guys. I'm so excited y'all are here. I want to introduce our guest speaker tonight. Her name is Jennie Potter, and she is a Higdon group coach, a faith-filled trainer in the network marketing industry. She's a best-selling author and an inspirational speaker. She has a background in counseling, and she loves personal growth and helping people discover and release their limiting beliefs. So, sound like anybody here? She is gifted at helping people identify and remove the hidden emotional blocks which hold them back from living their best lives. She loves sharing the tools she used to overcome her own self-sabotage, fear of strangers, fear of public speaking, and her general anxiety of the unknown. Now, Jennie is passionate about identifying tangible ways to release and reset unprocessed emotions, limiting beliefs, and sabotage set points. She thrives on helping others to get out of their own way, stop procrastinating, and start living extraordinary lives. Jennie lives on the west coast of Vancouver Island in British Columbia with her husband, Dave, her kids, and her 2 fur babies. And I can tell you, I've seen them and they're amazing. They're cute. I haven't seen her kids, but I've seen the fur babies. So Jennie, take it away.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction, Eva May. It's so awesome to be here, and I'm always excited to share on the topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is really, my book is called Self Sabotage No More, and really we're going to be talking about not sabotaging. So what does this look like? Well, as network marketers, this looks like not reaching out to anyone, not talking to people, not telling people about what we're doing. This looks like not following up, or someone is interested and we just don't respond to them. This looks like it's very obvious in network marketing, but this also shows up in our everyday life. This shows up in our health. This shows up with our goals. And so I got really, really committed to helping people get out of their own way. My background is in counseling. I then became a leader in the network marketing space. I was promoter of the year in my company, and just really experienced network marketing from the throwing up before I sent out a prospecting message to all the way to standing on stage and sharing with others how to prospect. And so I'm so excited to share with you a little bit today on what might be stopping you or getting in your way of how you show up, so if there's something that's bugging you, if you're procrastinating, if you're scared to send messages, if you're not showing up the way you want to, you set a goal and then you don't do it, you're in the right place tonight. And truthfully, most of us are in that place at one time or another. And most of us are that way in some way or another in some area of our life. So some of us are just awesome with our business, but like we'll drop our health goals, or are amazing in our business, but like there's like a mountain of laundry. And so this happens in all areas of life. And I really got obsessed with figuring out, well, what is it? What's that thing? Why do I talk to a client one day and they're so excited to prospect? They're so excited to show up. We talk about the homework, and then the next week they haven't done anything, or they were good for one day and then they stopped. Like, why does that happen? And so I'll share with you a little bit around why there's a few factors what holds you back. First of all, I'm absolutely no stranger to self-sabotage. I spent a lot of years really hardcore, visibly sabotaging. I did all of the things that you don't want your kids to do. And I really got, my life was very messy. I was in toxic relationships. I would look in the mirror and speak out like, you're ugly. No one's ever going to want you. I knew I was meant for more. Like, deep down, I knew there was so much more, but I had this pain in me, and I just felt unworthy. I felt guilty all the time. I surrounded myself with people who also were doing sabotage-like behavior. And I did a lot of drinking. I had attempted suicide 3 times by the time I was 21. And I just, and for another decade after that, things were rough. And then I started to come out of that and find myself. And it started with affirmations, though in this last, about a year ago, I discovered a kind of hidden piece that had been blocking my progress. So I started with affirmations. And if you're familiar with affirmations, awesome. But if you're not, these are things that can really change your vibration. You can look in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I love myself, I'm an amazing business owner, I, rock at prospecting, and you can start stepping into those things. But sometimes it doesn't change very quickly. And this was the piece. It took me 10 years of affirmations to start seeing a change in my life. And even as a leader in network marketing, it was almost like I was chest deep in water, trying to run with weights around my ankles. Everything was hard. And even though I was favored and lucky and lots of amazing things happened, everything felt like I was pushing. And, I always say, it's like, we want to take you from being chest deep in the water up onto the beach, up onto the sidewalk, so you're just walking freely. And so towards your goals, or running towards your goals freely. And with all of that hope that you have after you attend convention, or you go see someone inspirational and you're like, I can do it. And the next day you wake up and you don't. And so we're going to talk about that. So the first thing that you need to know, if you don't already know this, is that your brain is set up on autopilot. So what that means is, as a child, usually before the age of 12, you've kind of set up in your mind and your subconscious where you're headed. So you've picked your destination. And usually, quite frequently, that destination is maybe not the same destination you want to go to when you're older. So an example of this would be, you go to art class, you love it, you're so excited at painting and stuff like that, and your art teacher walks up and says, oh, you're good, but you're never going to make money with art. So make sure you have a plan B. Just do art for fun, okay? And so the well-meaning teacher plants that belief, and you set up this destination like, oh, artists don't make money. If I do my art, I'll be broke. If I don't, then I can make it, or whatever. You set up this idea of what your life is going to look like. And so the question is often, well, who's doing the programming? And the scary part is everybody. And you, at your 7-year-old you, is making decisions about how the world works. And your parents are showing you how the world works, and your teachers and the bullies in the schoolyard. and your siblings are showing you how the world works, and you're just this meaning making machine. You're just deciding like, okay, like, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not lovable. Nobody wants me. I'm always going to be on the outside looking in. Artists don't make money, all of these things. And so we set up our destination like before the age of 12. And so in my book, and I'll do the short version, but in my book, I share a story where I was like 12 years old and I was on a flight with my dad. My dad was a commercial pilot, and I got to sit in the cockpit for landing. And it was like 20 minutes before landing, and dad started to descend. And I'm in the jump seat, and I was a super shy kid, super quiet, just sitting in the jump seat. And my dad goes to descend, and this alarm goes off in the cockpit, and it's like, alert, alert, terrain ahead, terrain ahead. And this woman's voice comes on with this siren that just keeps repeating over and over, like basically, look out, you're about to fly into a mountain. And so there's no mountain in front of us. And my dad has flown this path before. He knows that we're in the right spot and all of that. And him and the co-pilot start trying to figure out how to reset, how to, turn off this alarm, because they know it's a glitch. Okay. And the glitch is the key, because this is what happens to us as adults. When we make a decision to be $1 million earner, or to make $500 a month in our company, or whatever the goal is, the alarm goes off, but it's a glitch. Okay. And so I won't leave you hanging. My dad decides like he cannot figure it out. And so he just looks at the co-pilot, who was super young, and just goes, you know what, we're going manual. And he just turns everything off in the cockpit. And we fly the plane in and land, like, no problem. I wasn't even scared. Like, my dad, I believed, like, I knew he could fly anything. I wasn't, it's funny because I was kind of an anxious kid, but in that moment, I don't remember being scared. I remember being quiet, but I knew it was going to be okay. But dad just shut everything down. And so that's what we want to learn how to do, everyone, is we want to notice when the glitches happen. Because when you go to sit down and prospect, and you answer an email instead, that's a glitch. That's your autopilot saying, we're not going to Success City. We decided a long time ago, we're going to a different destination. So that's kind of the first piece. Another piece that's attached, which I've kind of touched on, is that filter. So we actually have something called a reticular activating system, and just a fancy word for filter. So our brains are designed, we can't take everything in. If you were to drive down the street and take every single thing in, every car make, every smell, every person, every item of clothing, everything for sale, you just wouldn't be able to function. And so our brain makes things priorities, and there's 4 things. And just for sake of time, I'll just share with you the one that's important. The one that's important is the stuff that we think about all the time. So if we drive a red SUV, we see red SUVs, okay? Like everywhere we go. When I bought my SUV, I totally thought, like, I was like, I live in a smaller town. I was like, I've never seen this before. Like, I'm going to be the only person in town who has this car. And I was like, kind of excited. I don't care about that kind of thing, but for some reason I was sort of excited about that. And as we drove into town, we saw 3. Because I'd just never seen them before, because my filter was not set up to look for those, right? Now I see them all the time. And so this is what we do. We look for what we think about. It's one of the features. And so if you're always speaking out, I'm so messy, or I'm a plant killer, or I never get a parking spot in front, or I'm not worthy, people don't respect me, you will see disrespect everywhere you go. You will collect evidence of disrespect everywhere you go. And artists don't make money. You won't notice the singers that are making money, and the painters that are making money, and the people that are making money. you're only going to notice the broke artists. And so it's really important what we tell ourselves and what our filter setting is. And that's something in your control today. You can start noticing like, maybe I need to look at that differently, or maybe I need to speak something out differently. And so if you've ever been to a convention and seen someone on stage and been like, that'll never be me. That's the kind of thing we want to catch and shift. Instead saying, that'll be me one day, or that'll be me next year, accepting that reward or walking across that stage. And so if there's one thing I know with network marketing is that anything's possible for anyone, as long as you do a few key things every day. And so I talked about the filter, but this is like, what do you look for in life? What do you see? What proof are you gathering? We're always trying to make ourselves right. So if we believe that people are disrespectful, then we're always going to make ourselves right. We're always going to find people that disrespect us. And so perfect examples are like, I never finish what I start, or I'm a perfectionist, or I'm a procrastinator, or I never get ahead, or lucky things never happen to me, or I'm not important. No one listens to me. No one hears me. So these are important ones that you could change today and start looking for different proof. If you decided to look for hearts in everyday things, you would start seeing hearts immediately. There's a book called The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. It's amazing. And she talks about the RAS filter, and she gives everyone this exercise to look for hearts, and instantly people just start noticing hearts everywhere. That's your filter. So you want to set it up for looking for opportunities, looking for customers, looking for new people, looking for a bigger network, looking for opportunities to share what you have. And so your beliefs become your filter. I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. I don't belong. Success equals pain. Rich people are mean. Right? You're not going to get rich if you're thinking that all the rich people are bad or whatever. So just make sure you're aware. One of the things that are also affected, one of the last piece I'm going to talk about, because I've been talking about limiting beliefs or sabotage beliefs, which are sort of linked as well to that filter and that autopilot. But the last thing that triggers the alarm that most people are unaware of is emotion. And so we have these unprocessed emotions that just get stuck and they get triggered. So I always give the example. Now, this might not be your family, but I always give the example. The quickest way to know a trigger or an unprocessed emotion is go like have a big family gathering, because there's always someone at the table that knows how to push your buttons. And when I say push your buttons, I mean trigger an unprocessed emotion. Okay. And so there's a simple way to identify sabotage beliefs and unprocessed emotions. And so I'm going to walk you through that process today. I'll share a little bit more about emotions, because oftentimes people feel like they're not tangible, like it's just this thing that we talk about. But what an emotion actually is kind of cool. So if you had something scary happen, like maybe you went to step out on the street and a car drove by really fast and you went like that, your kidneys would actually pulse a vibration of fear. And that pulse alerts you that there is something to be nervous of. And so fear, emotion, any emotion is actually just a vibration. And it's a specific vibration which tells your body, release cortisol. You'll feel it in your tummy. Like if you know how you feel when you're angry or when you're scared or when you're anxious, what you maybe never thought about is where you feel emotions. And we're going to talk about that in a minute when I give you a tool. But this is really important because emotions aren't just this non-tangible thing, they're vibration. And if we don't allow an emotion to process, like joy, we experience joy and it bubbles up and out. It doesn't get trapped. We just enjoy joy. Okay. But when we're younger, we get taught we get taught not to act a certain way. You know, we get taught it's not appropriate to cry, or it's not okay to be anxious, or just wipe that look off your face was something I grew up with, right? So if I was sad, I was to wipe that look off my face. And if I was hurt, I was to wipe that look off my face, put a smile on my face, right? Always smiling. And so in some ways that served me, but in other ways, there's been this deep, deep lower energy that's been trapped in my body that until recently really was causing all kinds of havoc. And what I mean by that, that's the chest deep water you're feeling. That's the weights on the ankles you're feeling, is that there's this resistance. You're speaking to the mirror, I'm a millionaire, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, and yet you don't feel beautiful, rich, and worthy. You don't feel abundant, but you're speaking it. And it's frustrating because you're trying all the things. Most likely, if you're in network marketing, you're doing the dream board, you're trying the things, and yet you just don't feel abundant and worthy and beautiful. And the reason is that you've got all of this old sadness, and they're like songs. I say it's kind of like a bunch of songs playing in the background. You've got sad songs, angry songs, scared songs, like the freaky music in the in the movies, you know, in the scary music. You've got all this music playing at the exact same time, and then things trigger it. So someone's late for your, meeting, and you feel triggered, or you share with someone something, you share with one of your downline how to prospect and they don't do it and you feel triggered, or someone tells you how to do something and you feel triggered. And so all of this happens because you've got these emotions that were never healed or processed or released when you were younger, leading up to now. Some of us have a couple hundred, some of us have a couple thousand. I had 500. A couple thousand is very rare. The average adult has around 250 trapped emotions. And so those unprocessed emotions are hanging out, and some of them are low, some of them are loud, but they're all playing. And that is the water you're feeling when you're trying to get somewhere and you've got this like resistance. And so your sabotage beliefs also have a resonance. They also have a vibration. And so what we're going to do is an exercise to identify. Now, I have 2 methods of identification in my book, but just the first one is easier to teach in a arena like this. But the other one uses muscle testing and helps you really identify and clear at a more rapid pace. But this one's really good, especially for emotions in the moment. So if you're like in the kitchen, you're making dinner, the kids are underfoot, you're irritated, there's stuff going on, we're going to walk through how to release that. And so I call this the alarm method. The acronym is ALARM. And actually, Jennifer, I can send you a PDF of this if you want to upload it to your files in your group. I can send you a PDF that is even more descriptive and writes it all down. So if you're taking notes, awesome, but you don't worry too much. I'll send you the how to. And so the first thing is to be aware. So if we go back to the kitchen example, being aware, like I'm irritated, like actually saying it or feeling it or being aware of it. Now, some of you are very aware when you're irritated, but some of you are pushing it down or not acknowledging it or trying to keep that smile on your face and do all the right things and all the stuff. And so the first thing is to be aware of your feelings, like when you have them. If you're feeling procrastination, and I like using this as an example, maybe we'll use this today. So if you're procrastinating, you sit down to prospect or you sit down to reach out to someone and you go to do something else, anything else, laundry, email, Facebook, scrolling, whatever. Okay, you procrastinate. What's feeling beneath that? So just give you a second. You can write it in the chat or you can just write it down on your paper or think about it. But what's the feeling beneath procrastination? Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it fear? Is it tired? If you can't name it, it's okay. But just notice, like, there's a feeling, I'm feeling something. Maybe it might be anxious. And so if we use the example of anxious, so we're aware of the feeling, and now we're going to locate where it is in the body. This is really key. So whether you're in the kitchen making dinner or you're sitting down to prospect and you feel like you have that anxiety, notice where you feel that in your body. Okay. So you can comment below if you want to in the chat. You can comment like, I feel it in my stomach. I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my head. Not everyone is the same, but we definitely all know. That's how we know we're anxious. That's how we know we're irritated. That's how we know we're sad, is we feel it physically in our body. We've just learned to identify it as sad or anxious. And so once you have the location, you're going to ask yourself a question. I do say don't do this when you're driving. So if you're mad when you're driving, don't do this exercise. It's kind of funny, not funny, but I did this once and then I kind of hit on something and then I cried, and I shouldn't have been driving and I was crying so hard. So just, usually you won't cry with this question, but you might. So you want to ask yourself, when have I felt this before? That's it. When have I felt this before? You're irritated making dinner. When have I felt this feeling in my tummy before? Okay. And so you're sitting down to procrastinate. When have I felt this before? You set a big goal and it evokes a feeling. When have I felt this before? Now you might have a really weird memory pop up, like something from high school where you didn't have the right shoes, or when you ran for student council and you didn't win, or something a best friend said to you. Whatever pops up, just notice it. If nothing pops up, don't worry about it. Just go to the next step. It's just that the question will highlight often an unprocessed emotion from the past. We can clear the current emotion, but usually there's something triggered from the past. Okay. And so the next step is to release. And so I use a very simple method. The first thing you're going to do is just relax. So if it's your tummy, let's say that's the area, wherever your physical area is, relax that area. So if it's in your head, relax your forehead, relax your eyes, relax your tummy, relax whatever area is feeling that emotion, is alerting you of that emotion. Once you've relaxed, take a few nice deep breaths. This will kind of reset your fight or flight. This is in through the nose and out through the mouth, in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can do that 5 to 10 times. And then we're just going to do a really simple action. It's kind of like clearing cobwebs off you. And so it's just shoulder to wrist, whatever that emotion is, you're going to clear it. So clearing out irritation, clearing out irritation, clearing out irritation. Okay. You can do it a few times. It usually just takes 3 movements, but you can just keep going with that action. There is a reason, it's even scientific, why this works, but just in light of time, we'll just keep going here. But if this interests you or you want to learn more about this, my book is a super short read if you haven't already read it, and it does walk you through this and explain all the ins and outs and stuff. But the release is just like this. We're just going to release. Okay. We're just clearing out the energy. We're clearing out the emotion of irritation. And then the next step is to speak a mantra that is different from your emotion that you release. So it could be calm. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pack in calm. So this is called unpacking. And then we're going to pack. It's the exact same action. It's just a different intention. So just like you would unpack a suitcase and pack a suitcase, we unpack the unprocessed emotion. And now we're going to pack in calm, pack in calm, pack in calm. You can do this exercise with pretty much any current emotion. Grief is an exception. Grief is slower to process just in general, but you can release old emotions with this. If you're aware of an event that happened that was hard or difficult, or if you have a memory with that, ask, when have I felt this before? You know, maybe it was a time where you got fired at a job or something like that. You know, sit with that for a moment. Notice how you're feeling. Breathe, release, unpack, and then step into a new emotion. And you can do it several times, because sometimes, let's go back to the being fired from a job example, or maybe someone made fun of you when you did a Facebook Live or something like that, and it really hurt and it stuck. There might be more than one emotion there, so you can go through this more than once. And so that's the unpacking method. I will send a PDF for that. And hopefully that information helps today. Just really understanding that you kind of were set up, you programmed yourself at a very young age, and also all the people around, all the TV shows you watched, all of the things fed into this, your vision of what the world is like and what's possible for you. You can reset your filter today by starting to notice, well, what is my filter setting? Am I looking for opportunity, or am I looking for where I fail? Am I looking for what I can celebrate, right? I always taught my team to celebrate every single action. So if you send one message, just, yes, I'm amazing, is like my favorite action, because the more we can celebrate ourselves and look, set our filter to what can I celebrate versus what did I not get done today, is really powerful. And so with that, I can definitely open it up for questions. If anyone wants to join my Facebook group, it's free. I don't sell anything in there. It's literally just a place. There's a few questions, like no prospecting in there and all that stuff, but there's just I just add value each week. I only opened it a few weeks ago, but it's been a cool place to just share more skills, more tools, answer questions, and for people to share wins. So people are welcome to join that. And it's called Self Sabotage No More. So should be easy to find. And I can also send you a link for that, Jennifer, if you want. And then I can open it up for any questions if anyone has a question.
We have several watching on the Facebook group too. So if you guys have questions on Facebook, you can put it in the comments and I will read it for Jenny. I'm floored. Eva May, you're getting this every week. I'm like, wow. I was sitting here thinking, I sat and procrastinated today on my list of 7 things and got 2 done. I'm like feeling bad. So I'll celebrate my 2, but I know for me personally, the procrastination is a big one. And I think sometimes it comes from feeling like I'm not going to be able to do it right or do it the best way. And so, I think that was one of my emotions that I worked through a while ago. So do you find that whenever you talk with people, did they identify what their emotions are, or is that something that you help them do?
So when I was first doing this work, we would kind of work through it together, right? So for perfect example, what you just gave as an example, like you just, shared that you make this list and then, you feel like you can't do it right. So you don't do certain things because you feel like you're not going to do them right. Well, there's something below that. There's something deeper than that. Like, well, what would happen if you did it wrong? What would be the worst thing that could happen if you did it wrong? And really, this is just how we sabotage ourselves to not be successful. And so I know you're successful, you're a leader, you've done lots of amazing things. We're always setting goals, right? Like we're always reaching these bigger and bigger goals. And when I first started in network marketing, $300 was like, if I could make $300 a month, like that was like mind-blowing. Like I literally was like, if I could make an extra $300 a month, I would be so excited. And then that shifted, right? That shifted to bigger numbers. And each time it kind of didn't seem possible. And then for me, when the bigger goal started to happen was when I started to sabotage. when I started to not show up. And so when you notice yourself not showing up or shining as bright as you can, that's usually an indicator that there's some kind of fear around success or fear around failure. My guess would be fear around failure with you because of that, like wanting it to look perfect, right? But those are real things, and those usually stem from, I mean, it can be as simple as you were painting something in school and you knocked over the paints and your teacher yelled at you. And you never wanted to feel that way again. And you're like, okay, you just make that decision. Like, if I do anything, it has to be perfect or it's not good enough or whatever, right? You lock in on that. And so you can, I do walk through in the book how you can kind of identify these moments and clear them. And of course, you know, I've been doing it for a long time, so I definitely help clients do that more quickly, but it's totally in your ability. You know you best, right? Mm-hmm. What I noticed with these, with releasing the emotions, once I figured it out, was that there was stuff that I really thought I'd healed that was still playing in the background, you know, old beliefs that I was ugly or, you know, unlovable, like this stuff that was so old, and, you know, it was so fulfilling to clear. Yeah. So, and I have to also say that Eva May is like the best. Like, she is just so, she is so amazing. You are so amazing, Eva May, at how you show up and how excited you are, not only for your own business and how you show up for yourself and how you come to the calls like, you know, let's get better, let's get better, let's get better, but also your heart for the team and wanting everyone else to see and understand their potential, because that is the most exciting thing in network marketing, is that anybody can be a top leader. Anybody can get there. It's just those few things that you have to show up with each day. And so, you know, it's not easy, but it's possible. And that's what I love about it.
Well, you have been amazing for me because you've helped me to identify several things that have held me back. And it's still a process, you know, working through things, but it's been I feel like it's been a really good fit for me to have you. So that's, I'm just very blessed with that. So
I always feel like God arranges the appointments. So
absolutely.
It's a perfect fit.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions or curious about what might be holding them back?
We have a quiet group sometimes.
Yes.
That's okay. I know these groups. I know Zoom. It's sort of awkward to, you know.
Yes.
One thing I could do is share with you, Jennifer, if you wanted me to check how many unprocessed emotions you have, or if anybody wants that. I shouldn't put you on the spot. If anybody in the group wants to know their UPE score, I can actually muscle test on your behalf to see what your unprocessed emotion score is. So you could know like how many unprocessed emotions you have. Does anybody want to know that?
Would love to know that, but I think Sharon Thompson had a question. Okay. Sharon, go for it.
Hi, couple of questions. One, your book, is it digital? Can you get it on Amazon, on Kindle?
You can get it on Kindle, Audible, and paperback. Yeah, and it's a quick read. It's
okay.
Yeah, like that's one of the feedbacks I get. It's just short and sweet. It's an easy one. Yeah.
And then I think procrastination is probably one of the largest emotions from all of us. I don't know if you saw me smiling or not, but I'm like, man, is she talking to me or what? But I was the other day, I was working on my Avon, then I decided, oh, I need to do blah, blah, blah. And for
Yes.
me, I think I just have too many things on my plate. Even though I write it down before I get started for the day and I check it off, I'm
Yeah.
always, I don't know if I have ADD or what, I don't know what the problem is, but that's my biggest one, procrastinating and deviating from my tasks. So
How do you feel when you procrastinate? Like, do you still get everything done, or are you okay, yeah. So what's one thing that you keep procrastinating about that you would really like to get done? Like, would actually be significant for you to get done?
passing out brochures.
Passing out brochures. Okay.
Yes.
And so you like, you know, you need to do it, but you just keep not doing it.
Or
So
I half do it.
you what?
Half do it. Like I'll do
You have to.
some.
Yeah, okay. So how do you feel when you don't do it? What's the feeling?
I feel like I let myself down.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, if I know I'm gonna let myself down, I should just go ahead and do it. But then the weather gets cold and I'm like, oh, I hate it when it's cold, you know, and then it seems like I've got to get out of that, but I honestly don't know how.
So we can always come up with reasons to procrastinate. That's a no-brainer. But it's the feeling that's important, because
Okay.
actually what you're attached to, which you won't consciously think you're attached to, but your subconscious is attached to letting yourself down. So there's this almost like it's almost like we get addicted to the feeling. And so it's actually your comfort zone is to beat yourself up. So to be out of your comfort zone, something you could try is to start celebrating what you, even if you only do half, you start celebrating like, I'm amazing. I just handed out one brochure, like do a dance. Okay. I'm serious. I did this with
Okay.
laundry and I became like amazing at laundry. Like every t-shirt I put away, I was just like, yes, I'm amazing. I put away a t-shirt. My husband's got like 5,000 socks, and like I'd be like, you know, there's another pair of socks, like, you know, and I do have fur babies and I talk to the dogs like while I'm doing, you know, the laundry, but it literally 3 times of doing that. And I was kind of like, oh, laundry. Because your body likes it when you celebrate, Sharon. It likes
Okay.
it. It actually releases like serotonin and all that. So it feels a little silly, but I got a feeling you're okay with silly. It
Yeah.
feels a little silly, but if you could start going, yes, I'm amazing, over and over, you will see a shift in what you're procrastinating about. Also, I would set like a minimum, a medium, and a maximum goal. And I like
Okay.
this because what happens is most people say, I'm going to hand out, how many brochures do you like in your dream mind? You're like, I'm going to hand out this many. Like
100.
100. Okay. Sure. It's like, no problem. Tomorrow. Sure, that's what's happening. Okay. Then your brain in the morning goes, 100 brochures, like thinking, and you don't hand out one because 100 is so big. So what we do, what is powerful to do is to do a process where you go, okay, my minimum is 5 brochures. 5 brochures. That's my absolute. I have a migraine. 16 things are happening at home. I'm tired. I'm handing out 5 brochures. Okay. 25 brochures is I'd like to hand out 25 brochures every single day. And if you guys are talking about physical brochures, like normal, I coach on social media, so 100 seems like a lot, but I'm just gonna say, like, pick something that's reasonable and possible, okay, on a normal day. And that is your medium goal. So that's I'm gonna do this every day. So you have a bad day, you only hand out 5. You have a good day, you hand out 25. Okay. You
Okay.
have an outrageous day, It's anything more than 25. All right.
Okay.
And even if you have a day where you hand out 5, you go, yes, every single one you hand out. And if you can do that and start celebrating your self, because
Okay.
there's probably some emotion that's trapped in you that's around success. Okay. Like somebody whispered to you a long time ago, like, you're never going to succeed, or this business isn't going to work, and there's a small part of you that's trying to protect you. Okay. This is the glitch, is the alarm is going off. When you say 100 brochures, your alarm goes off. Terrain ahead, pull up, but there's no man there. And so when you set that 100 brochure goal, you set off the alarm and you stop, you procrastinate, because there's this part of you that believed that whisper. So we just have to reset. We just have to shut it all down and like bank right to a new destination, right? And so once you start celebrating every single thing that you do, and when you go to bed at night, instead of thinking, oh, I only handed out 5 brochures, you're like, I handed out 5 brochures, and tomorrow I'm
Okay.
gonna hand out another 25. Okay. And so when you go to bed thinking, what can I celebrate about today? Where can I be grateful today? Okay. So smaller goals is actually better. It's sort of like when people say they're going to prospect for an hour and then they're like, oh, I don't have time to prospect. But if you said prospect for 15 minutes in chunks, like 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, you'd probably get a lot more done. So, yeah.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're
You
welcome.
made me have chills, Sharon. I love that. That's how I felt today too. Kathy
wow.
has her mute off. So Kathy, did you have a question? Can you hear us, Kathy? We can't hear you. Okay. Kathy, your mute's off, but I don't know if we can't hear you.
It's still showing on. Her mute's still on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought it was off. I'm sorry. Stacy, did you have a question?
I did. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My question is, I mean, do you find yourself like, I know you've written your book. Do you find yourself just like shutting down sometimes though, even though you've kind of mastered, and not that you've mastered, but you've managed to have a plan for yourself, where you can see what your triggers are and things like that. Do you find yourself still sometimes like pausing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I would say yes. Like my husband, he says to me, like we laugh always, but he'll say, self sabotage no more, and then we both laugh. Like if I have a day where I'm like, oh, like my clothes are too tight or whatever, right? And then he's like, self sabotage no more. And then we both laugh. So it's kind of become a thing. So yeah, it's natural. It's natural to have down days. But what's powerful is having the tools to clear those emotions and using them. Having the tools, and I'm identifying more stuff like I kind of geek out about this stuff, but the emotions and the sabotage beliefs, like, I've cleared those out. Those are gone. But I do notice that there's still stuff, that's a bit of a trigger. And what I'm learning is that the body also holds resistance. The body also glitches. And so your adrenal glands might respond because they remember something scary that happened around money, or if like, I don't know if I use this example, I've done lots of talking today, but if your parents came into money and then got a divorce, and so you have this emotional connection to money equals unhappy marriage, and so you're like not on purpose, but you're sabotaging because you know that if you make money, your relationship's headed into a bad place. And so your subconscious does that. You're not consciously like, I'm not going to make any money and we're going to be happy. But subconsciously, that alarm is going off saying, hey, whoa, if we make money, this part of our life is gonna crash. And so, great question. Yes, I absolutely still get in my own way sometimes, and I have to use my tools, but I don't know if you're on when I was talking about moving through the water and then moving up onto the beach and up onto the sidewalk, but like it's sort of before I felt like I was always pushing. And then this last year, after I released all of my unprocessed emotions and limiting beliefs, sabotage beliefs, I literally had, I wrote 2 books. I wrote a devotional for network marketers, and then I wrote my Self Sabotage No More. I created a course. I started a full coaching practice, which has stayed full this whole year. Like, and I'm not saying this like, oh, I'm just saying like it all happened with flow and ease because I was able to use my tools. So some days I'm like, oops, I haven't like posted on social media like at all. Notice like I haven't even thought about my stories in 2 days, And so I've got to create little lists for myself, like, that support me to be organized in things that I'm not natural at. But this whole year has just flowed in a way that I've never experienced. And I truly believe it's because I got rid of the old triggers and trauma, and I had a lot of trauma. Most of us do. I haven't really coached someone. I very rarely coach someone that didn't have a tough time, a hard relationship with their dad, or a tough time with their mom, or mean siblings, or, bullied at school. Like we all have stuff. And so, yeah, great question. Yes.
Thank you.
Mm.
I love that. Eva May, were you going to ask something?
No, I was going to see if was it Kathy that had something a while ago? I was going to see if she got off of mute or if she still had a question.
I had a question and I can't find it. I wrote it down and I put notes and I cannot find it.
That's
Well,
okay.
Is there anything, Kathy, that gets in the way of you building your business?
I tend to procrastinate
Mm-hmm.
like everybody else does.
Yeah.
Mine is because I work a full-time job. So
Yeah.
when I get home, I have to decompress from that because I hate it so much.
Yeah.
That it's hard to get going to do the next step.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so by the time I talk my day out with my husband, and it's like, it's just, I can't wait till I can retire. I'm into those last 7 years to get to that point. And that's why I joined Avon so I had something to fall back on after I retire. But I want to, we want to travel. We're empty nesters. My youngest still lives with me, but he's 34. So he does his own thing. So we consider ourselves empty nesters because I don't have to worry about him.
I'm in a similar situation.
So that it's just that decompressing thing, and then to go into the next step. And sometimes I have a list of things that I want to get done. Today, I actually did message somebody, and it was just before we came on here. And so it was like, at least I got that done.
Right. And I would say to you, Kathy, you're on here tonight, and that speaks volumes.
And I've been waiting all week for this.
Well, to show up for yourself in this way speaks volumes for your desire, right? And sometimes we have the desire. It's like the friend who wants to lose 30 pounds for 30 years, right? They never lose the 30 pounds. They have the desire. It's not like they don't want to. It's just that there's things that they have to do. And when they go to do them, they get stuck. And it's that sticking point that we want to clear. And so you're on here tonight, which, speaks volumes for your desire. And so I might just take what you what we were just speaking about with the minimum, the medium, and the outrageous goals. And start just doing one little thing every day, Kathy, because you're building towards, like you said, 7 years, right? And so 7 years, one a day, that's a lot of messages. If that's the worst case scenario, right? If that's the worst case scenario, that's still a pretty good scenario. But what if you could do 2 a day? You know, and so, but what we do is we're like, I have to reach out to 15 people or 25 people or whatever. And then we feel like we never have time.
Yes.
With Eva May, I suggested, I think we talked about this, but the 15, you use a timer. So for 15 minutes, you literally, like, if you can only do 8 minutes, Kathy, you literally just go to your phone, set your timer for 8 minutes, and for 8 minutes, you prospect. As soon as that timer goes off, you go hang with your husband, make dinner, chill out, watch TV, whatever. But I find that the little goals of little chunks of time make it feel more doable. And then don't forget to celebrate, like, yes, 8 minutes of prospecting. Okay. Whether you reach out to 1 or 5 in 8 minutes, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's the one more step towards my freedom, right? That's what you're doing it for. Yeah. Cool.
So thank you.
I love that. I do. I've taught a lot about time blocking. I learned that from one of the coaches that Ray Higdon had brought on. And that seems to be, and I don't know why I didn't think about that today when I wasn't getting things done, but I think that seems to be one of the best things that helps me as a mom and wife and trying to take care of all the things is by 15 minutes, at least that's 15 minutes I can work on it. So
yeah, I totally agree. I have to be kind of flexible in my time blocking just because of how my mind works. But like I highlight like little important like moments, like to do things and stuff. I kind of play little tricks, but I totally agree. Planning just on a Sunday night or Monday morning, looking at your week ahead and going, when am I going to the grocery store? Like that's a big one that trips me up. I would never go to the store if I didn't have to. When am I going to the grocery store? Like kind of figuring out dinner, like for the week. And then when am I going to prospect this week coming up? You know, like, okay, I could do 15 minutes before I went to work with my coffee. I could do 15 minutes like when I got home, like when I get in the car before I drive home. Right? You just pick out these little moments. Like some of you have more time, some of you have less time. But if you can write it down on your week ahead, just like, okay, this is my goals for my business. These are the things, this is the doctor appointment, this is the boring thing, this is the team meeting, you know, just put it there and set intention. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Do we have any other questions? Any questions on Facebook? Y'all are a quiet bunch tonight.
They are.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Sip and send, Rebecca says.
Well, feel free to reach out to me. Like, you know, you can send me questions after Jennifer or Eva May, either one of you. Feel free to just, you know, if someone has something after or watches the replay and has a question, that's no problem. I'm always happy to help.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you so much and you coming on and helping us. And I think as everybody kind of processes through, and I want to share, I really would encourage you guys, if you can, to go into Amazon and get Jennie's book, because it is life-changing. I mean, it really is. It's an amazing book and it has helped tremendously. Stacy, I think you got it. I know a couple of people because I've shared it with people.
I really enjoyed your book, and I found myself going back certain chapters and like listening to them again because I'm like, she's in my head.
People tell me that frequently, that I'm in their head, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but
In your Facebook page, if you joined her Facebook, because you did this, I can't remember the lady's name. You did a one-on-one with someone.
Oh, yeah. So in the Facebook group, you if you search, you'll see I did 2 sessions. There's a first one and a second one. You'll see me doing my process and working with someone. And I think it's helpful. Like I've had lots of people comment that it helped them, like watching
Yes.
it. But if you feel free to join my Facebook group, it's Self Sabotage No More. And if you did buy my book, please do an Amazon review. That's like that's the biggest favor, biggest request I could ask for. An honest Amazon review is very helpful for me. It helps Amazon share my book to others and get it out there. So thank you. And thank you both for having me on your, thank you all for having me on your team call and just taking the time out of your evenings. I respect and appreciate each and every one of you. And I know how hard it is to show up and, you know, and I'm cheering for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope everybody has a great night.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Good night, ladies.